I did not expect first contact to happen on a windswept plateau of red stone, with my helmet fogging and my hands shaking inside pressurized gloves. Humanity had imagined aliens for centuries, invaders, saviors, monsters, gods. But none of our stories prepared me for the silence that came just before I met her. The planet was catalogued as Kepri 9, a marginally habitable world orbiting a dim orange star. Our mission was simple on paper: survey, sample, and signal. We were explorers, not diplomats. The alien civilization we had detected months earlier appeared ancient but dormant, its cities half buried beneath mineral growths that glittered like frozen lightning. When my team drew straws for who would enter the central structure, my name came up. I told myself I wasn't afraid. I was wrong. The chamber inside was vast, shaped like a cathedral carved by tides rather than hands. Organic walls pulsed faintly, responding to our lights with slow waves of color. At the center stood a dais, and upon it, the alien queen. She was taller than any human, her form elongated and symmetrical, her skin layered like polished obsidian shot through with veins of soft luminescence. A crown-like crest rose from her head, not ornamental but biological, branching like coral. Her eyes, if that's what they were dark pools that reflected more than light. They reflected attention. My translator failed instantly. Static hissed in my ear as symbols scrolled and vanished. The rest of my team remained at the chamber's edge, frozen by awe or fear. Somehow, I knew this meeting was meant to be singular. For reasons I couldn't explain, I took a step forward. The queen descended from the dais without moving her feet, as if gravity had reconsidered its priorities. When she reached me, she raised a long, delicate limb. The air vibrated. My heart hammered so hard I thought my suit alarms would scream. She touched me, not roughly, not invasively. Her fingers rested against the side of my helmet, right where my temple was, separated by layers of polymer and metal that suddenly felt meaningless. The moment contact was made, the world fractured. I was no longer standing in the chamber. I was everywhere. I saw oceans being born and swallowed. I saw her species rise from microbial haze into thinkers, builders, singers of mathematics. I felt their triumphs and their mistakes, the wars they regretted before they even finished fighting them. Time folded in on itself like a living thing, and I understood, without words, that this queen was not merely a ruler. She was a memory bearer, a living archive. The middle of the vision was darker. I saw stars dimming, not from distance but from exhaustion. I saw civilizations, hers and others, burn through their resources in desperation, clawing at survival instead of understanding. I saw the universe aging, entropy creeping like frost across existence. And threaded through it all was a question, echoing without sound. Will you be different? I wanted to answer. I wanted to explain humanity's flaws, our contradictions, our capacity for cruelty and compassion in equal measure. I wanted to promise something, but promises felt small in the face of cosmic history. That was when she whispered, not through the translator, not through sound at all. The words arrived directly inside me, precise and gentle, carrying the weight of epics. Survival is not the goal, she said. Remembrance is. The vision released me. I staggered back, gasping, my suit finally alerting me to my elevated vitals. The queen withdrew her hand. Around us, the chamber brightened, colors flowing like a slow sunrise. My team rushed forward, voices overlapping, but I barely heard them. I was still holding the whisper, turning it over like a rare stone. Before we could ask questions, before we could attempt diplomacy or science, the queen began to fade. Her form dissolved into particles of light that sank into the chamber walls. The dais hardened into inert stone. The pulsing stopped. She was gone. We returned to Earth with samples, data, and recordings that would take generations to analyze. Officially, the mission was declared a success. Unofficially, it changed everything. I testified before councils, scientists, and leaders, repeating her message as faithfully as I could. Many interpreted it as a warning. Others called it philosophy or poetry, or a misunderstanding filtered through human perception. But I knew better. Years passed. Humanity stood at crossroads again and again. Ecological collapse, expansion beyond our solar system, the temptation to exploit rather than understand. And slowly, subtly, something shifted. We began to archive not just information but experience. We built memory, vaults meant to outlast planets. We taught our children not only how to survive, but how to remember who we were and why our choices mattered. As for me, I left exploration. I became a keeper of stories. Sometimes, late at night, I dream of the Red Plateau and the Silent Chamber. I dream of her eyes, deep and patient. I don't know if the alien queen still exists in any form we would recognize, or if she entrusted her final memory to a frightened human because she saw something in us worth preserving. What I do know is this: when she touched me, she did not give me power or prophecy. She gave me responsibility, and her whisper remains unforgettable, not because it was mysterious, but because it was true. Survival ends. Memory continues. As long as we remember, none of us are ever truly gone. In my final years, when my hands trembled too much to write and my voice softened into something almost fragile, I was asked one last time to return to Kepri. 9. Humanity had changed by then. We no longer arrived as conquerors or careless explorers. We arrived quietly, carrying archives instead of weapons, questions instead of demands. The chamber still stood. Time had not touched it the way it touches everything else. The walls no longer pulsed, but they did not feel dead. They felt complete, like a book that had been closed after the final sentence was written. I stood where I had stood all those years ago, supported by younger explorers who knew my story better than they knew my own childhood. I reached out, half expecting nothing. But as my fingers brushed the cold stone, a warmth spread through me, not a vision, not a flood of history, but something gentler. Gratitude. A sense of acknowledgement. As if the universe itself was quietly nodding. I finally understood then what the alien queen had done. She had not whispered to save her people. She had whispered to ensure they were not forgotten. Her civilization may have faded, her species may exist now only as echoes written into the fabric of space-time, but they lived on through us. Through our remembering. Through our choice to carry their story forward. When I left the chamber for the last time, I felt no sadness. Only peace. Because memory, I had learned, is the closest thing the universe has to immortality.
Stars die.
Worlds crumble. Species vanish. But stories, when carried with care, outlive even time. And somewhere beyond the limits of human perception, I believe the alien queen remembers us too. Not for how long we survived, but for how well we remembered.